I don't know.
Good?
It was fantastic.
I don't know if the timing was good,
That
but
might be our best
it'll work.
one,
It'll
yeah.
work. Yeah, it's a home run.
I liked it a
People
lot.
will like it. People will enjoy it. All right. Where you at, Jim?
I'll show you around quarantine.
Yeah, Jim is in Sydney quarantining.
All right, here we go. Hold on. How do I reverse that camera? There we go.
No,
That's still you.
reversed it.
Yeah, well, everyone.
Now you haven't reversed it yet.
still you.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Oh, that's
There we go.
pretty.
Yeah, it's a motorway I can look at all day. It's an exercise bike.
Your fingers in front of the camera.
Yeah,
Your fingers in front of the camera. There.
Right, it's an exercise bike. I've got a bit more of a curtain here.
Oh, wow. Luxury.
Why do you have so many trinkets in the
Here's a picture
window?
of my friend Mick Malloy, shirtless.
Have you used the
Look at
exercise bike yet?
I have used it. I've tripped over it more than I've used it. A couple of plants, some Australian Kelly, air humidifier. Well, it's quite good. We got a 12 rating. Well, that might be 12% left. I don't know. I won't show my wife because she doesn't want to get shown on camera because it's early in the morning. But we have the other bit.
Yeah.
That's a nice hotel.
There's a tip of my wife's head, and then that's. We're not allowed to leave this room for 2 weeks.
You're almost done, right? There's some plants in there.
Yeah, we bought plants.
Yeah, that's nice.
We bought plants for clean air.
Extra
We bought
oxygen.
plants,
Yeah.
yeah, for oxygen.
Yep.
And I'll get back into bed.
Jim's doing this episode from bed.
Yes, if you're just
Well,
an
mate,
audio
what else
listener.
am I meant to do? What's the other options? I'm going to. You all wish you're in bed as well.
I
Do
do.
it from the
Just that
exercise bike.
I can do it from the exercise bike.
Oh, there we
Yeah,
go.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go. Let's see if we can.
I'm feeling stronger today. I was weaker yesterday.
He's on the exercise bike there. For those of you listening at home, it's worth YouTube.
Yes,
It's
definitely.
Not, but just that.
Jack, you got something for us?
We're going to do Comment World today.
Yeah.
Jim has just woken up for everybody.
It's 8 a.m. in Australia.
8 a.m. Tuesday, and we're doing this, 3 p.m.
No
Monday.
theme song today because Jim will not be able to hear it.
Correct.
So we'll start off with 88 liters.
Yeah.
A lot of people were shocked, and some people are going, I don't think it's that much.
What are you setting on fire?
Why are you lighting a match?
Yeah, what's
Did you
going on?
shit your pants on the bike?
Oh, you're lighting a candle.
Oh, okay.
This is how I keep things smelling good.
You
gotta
didn't blow it out.
Blow the match
I
out.
thought he threw the match after he thought he blew it. I was like, your room will be on fire.
It's one way to leave.
That was a
it
bit
on.
of visual comedy. That's how you get out of quarantine. Burn the place.
All right, we're in the comment world now. So what did you say? There was
88
a comment.
liters a week. And
People
there's
were
been
commenting on the
there's
88
a few
liters.
people who have gone, wait, that's like 2 bottles a week. That doesn't seem that bad to me.
What?
Two bottles.
2 bottles of whiskey a week?
It is a lot, right?
That's a lot of
yeah,
whiskey.
that's a lot of
Yeah.
whiskey.
That's
That's a lot,
average.
and that's just the average. That wasn't the heavy drinkers. That
Yeah.
was just the just the social drinkers.
Yeah, that was
doing
the
88.
casuals.
Yeah, doctors were okay
And
with
also-
that.
And also, if you go, that's 2 bottles. That's not that bad a week. You got a drinking problem. You're an alcoholic.
Yeah. You're doing the bike,
Yeah, he's really doing it.
Yeah.
or you're just walking back and forth. One of the two.
Those fucking pajama pants.
Did you get those pajamas from Dr. Seuss? All right.
You borrowed those from your son.
What other comments are there, John?
Someone commented on the credit score episode.
Yeah.
They said, my credit score went from like 750 to 798 since I watched this. I have 2 cards focused on keeping that balance to 0 and
Oh,
chipping away at the second one.
They followed her advice.
They followed the
Hell
advice.
yeah.
Okay.
And then
What's her
they,
name? The Tiffany.
Tiffany Alice.
Alice, thank you.
they got in one last Dave Grohl joke. They said he looks like Dave Grohl if Dave Grohl was a fry cook.
One last one? You think that's it?
No,
Well,
there's
If Dave Cole was a fry, I don't get that one.
I don't either. I guess picture him frying something, and that's me, I guess.
But
Needs work.
a fry cook's renowned for being virgins or something. What's the thing? Like why? What?
I'm not sure.
What's the? Like if you're a fry cook right now, you're at work hearing this podcast, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I don't get the fry cook either.
I try to have an honest living. I work hard, and this is the shit I get.
I get compared to Jack. Fuck me. This person confirmed one of your points. They go, as a former bouncer, I totally agree. The British and Irish are uniquely fond of a bar fight. The only two nationalities that if you're going to have a fight, just throw a punch, no need to have a chat first. It's those two. Americans will talk about having to fight for ages before anything happens. So,
yeah, that's how all the wars have started. I don't know.
If anybody, I guess, what's that? Oh, yeah.
That was a lot of exercise. I must have been on that bike for minutes.
I'm sure you guys have figured it out, but we didn't really explain that Jim is in quarantine.
Yeah.
This is the first episode we've done when you're not here. You're zoomed in. So if you haven't figured it out, Jim's in quarantine in Australia. He's getting new to shows.
I think this episode comes out after I get back from Australia. So
the day
the tour went great. The tour went really good. There's new shows on sale for the American tour. There's an extra one out in New York, and I assume somewhere else.
Yeah.
And everything's gone good. And because this podcast is so far in the future, I'm just going to go, whatever crime they're accusing me of, I didn't do it.
Oh, no. Okay.
Let's cover my bases.
Yeah.
Someone said, and then, of course, I don't look up the validity to these comments, but they said the X in Dallas where JFK was shot, they said the city doesn't paint it. Nobody really knows who paints it. Cool if it's true.
In the middle of the road, you could pick up on it pretty quick. You know what I mean? It's not like a mystery on top of a fucking mountain. It's on an expressway. Like
late at night.
Yeah, just leave a camera on it. You'll figure it out.
Someone said, shout out to Kelly and her box of extra toasty Cheez-Its. That's what's up. I'm not sure what episode they're commenting on, but
great.
Weird.
They're not here now.
I think that's from the unsolicited. I ate those on our other podcast, so maybe they're confused about which podcast they're watching.
And then someone said, I've officially set Kelly going, yeah. From, fuck, I didn't take a screenshot of what episode it's from, but I think it's from the gun episode. And I have the poll right here.
Wait, what?
What's going on?
You said
you're not explaining this very well. Say it again.
Oh, sorry. As the ringtone for their phone. Kelly's yeah as their ringtone now, and it sounds like this.
Oh, just pause for a second.
What do you mean like that?
Everyone's in there though.
Yeah.
So it's everyone. Yeah. Is
like
his new
one.
ringtone.
That's great.
Wow.
Bye, Jim.
We lost Jim.
You know, there was a comment that said someone else skips the first 20 minutes of this episode. I guess he is too.
He's like, I love not being
How would they
studio,
know to
so I
send
don't
this
have
in the
listen to
comment world then if they skip the first 20 minutes?
They just know it's going to hurt me.
Liar.
Okay, yeah.
Hey, also, while we're at this, I'm filming a documentary. You know about this, but I'm filming a documentary about my travels. And so I have to document a small part of my day. So this is me talking to you to talk to the documentary to talk about different things. This is like a Russian doll of information right now.
Wait, are we supposed to pretend like we don't know the documentary is being filmed?
No, you can very clearly see that I'm filming. No, you know that the documentary is being filmed.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I'm meant to tell the world what it's being filmed for, because you guys could tell people a thing. And it doesn't matter if you're watching the documentary right now, then you already know what it's about, so you'll be fine.
I don't think this will make the cut. That's right. I don't think this is making the cut. But, hey, Jim, we're doing the podcast.
Oh, wow. I'm on a documentary.
So good to see you. Wow, what is this for?
Hold on. Stop.
He wasn't recording.
To press record.
Okay.
Don't worry, we'll just pull this footage.
I do a podcast, and I'm in quarantine right now, and I'm still working from quarantine. Hardest working man in show business, I reckon. That was James Brown, then me. I don't think James Brown was the hardest working person in show business. It seemed like he was always strung out on drugs and causing mischief.
Ryan Seacrest, I think it is. Yeah.
Ryan Seacrest is the hardest working man.
Or Wayne Brady. He's everywhere too.
Yeah, Wayne Brady's hardworking. I'm the laziest successful man in show business.
Good title. I'll take it.
Yeah, that's a new
All right,
special.
good night, Australia. Wait. All right, so there you go. We got the documentary. What I do is that I'm meant to film something every day for the documentary while I'm in quarantine, and Lisa Vanderpump calls us, and we record those conversations. So it looks like,
Those will make the cut. Those will make the cut.
I think they will. She rings up and she goes, "How are you doing, darling? You're having a good time in quarantine?" And I go, I'm having a terrible time, Lisa. And I moan to her. She talks me through it. She puts her dog up to the camera, and I go, that'll cheer me up. That's basically how we work.
All right.
Lisa Vanderpump's your fairy godmother now. Love it.
It's a wonderful woman, Lisa Vanderpump. I won't hear a bad word said against her. Wonderful lady.
What else we got, Jack?
I'm back to cycling.
Someone commented on the gun control episode. They go, funnily enough, I watch a bit of NBC6 News in the morning. ... Gun violence. ... Gun violence. Gun violence. Bat attack. What? No, it was not an attack of a flying bat, but a dude standing in front of a fire engine smashing the windscreen with a baseball bat. What an effed up crazy country. True.
Yeah.
There were definitely there were some comments from
Staying
people. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So staying in Australia, you forget how mundane the rest of the world's news is. And it's just the Australian news is just, a woman falls over. You know what I mean?
Whoa, is she okay?
Like the big thing at the moment is someone's invented a tiny capsule that you eat and then it expands in your stomach so you lose like 20 kilos, right? I don't know whether I'm watching an infomercial or an actual miracle thing, but that's the big news story in Australia right now, expanding capsules. You got that news in America?
No, but I remember those things from before.
those too.
I remember those things from before, but the problem is how does it unexpand so it goes to your intestines?
Yeah, it's look. I'm not saying it's going to fix the world. It requires no anesthesia, sedation, or endoscopy. So, look, I'm not making it up.
No.
It's here. There you go. Look, there you go. So it goes down like that. It's into your stomach.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't want to give the whole storyline away.
Okay.
I'm just saying the news in Australia is very basic.
Is that bike from 1984, by the way? It doesn't look like a very...
It's one of the ones that the pregnant can sit on. You sit back. You put your hands by your side, you do that. It'd be good for a guy that was paralyzed from the waist up.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
No, but you...
That
On the waist up only? Only your legs work?
I don't know. I bet there's people
weird.
who just...
It's walking around like all frozen on top.
I wonder.
Yeah, I don't wonder. I don't think that's a thing.
Okay,
Like
I'm
the
going to look it
spinal
up
cord.
later.
I don't think it's a thing. I've seen a bloke who has no arms in the pub who does the thing where he picks up his beer with his 2 feet and sits in the corner, all that type of stuff. And I'm like, that guy really wants a beer.
Yeah.
Anything else, Jack?
Yeah, look, I'm going to be honest with you. Most of the comments have been horrible because they're just people complaining about guns in the comments.
Yeah, a lot of people thought a blonde woman wouldn't know about gun laws.
Yeah, they're like,
and
she doesn't
not
know
me.
anything. No, a lot of upset people. Sorry. Get over it. But a question that come up that I've seen people debate online before, they go, does the bow tie go at the top or the bottom of the giraffe's neck? So if a giraffe has to get dressed up, where do you put the tie?
Top.
You put it at the you put it just about 2 inches underneath his chin, like we do. You know what I mean? You don't want it like right up his chin. But you put it up the top. You don't put it down the bottom. The shirt should cover a bit more of his neck.
Yeah. It's like a turtleneck.
I don't know. I think it would go at the base where
You'd be
neck
wrong.
meets the bottom. Okay.
Yeah, it should be called a draft neck, those sweaters. I don't know why they call turtlenecks.
Either way you do it, it's animal cruelty. Like the animal hasn't requested a bow tie at any stage. This is all for our pleasure.
So I think a bow tie up top makes sense. What about just like a normal like necktie?
Yeah, still.
That up the top looks weird to me. I can't picture
No, you
that.
need a very long necktie. And what if you wore them low like Trump does? You know how Trump wears his neckties over his dick? He goes real low on them.
Oh, yeah.
There wouldn't be enough fabric.
No, definitely not.
I like that Jack thinks there's some way that a giraffe could wear a necktie that would look normal to
Yeah,
him.
I know. He's like, it would just look weird like that.
That's right. Well, that's why we're talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Like Jack's like, how am I going to sneak this giraffe into the prom if you won't wear his necktie properly?
They're not gonna buy. They're my girlfriend.
She lives in Africa.
She just flew in.
Is that it for comment?
That's
World?
it for Common World.
Wow, that person won't
Yes.
have to wait 20 minutes this week. That's good for them.
Yeah, it's good.
Only 18.
All right, should we do some ads?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we get to the ads, obviously on the back of the huge success of the Australian tour.
Yeah, but you haven't said that yet. In this episode,
No, but
you
at the
said it was
beginning of
good.
the podcast, we would have talked about it.
No,
Oh,
no,
well,
no. You said it went great.
Yeah, no, well, I'm going to
It
keep
went-
up
it
with that
went
story.
great.
The best reviews I've ever had in Australia. Not a single negative review.
Okay.
It was a good tour, I tell you. You can't do better than that. Not a single 1 star. They were all positive. In the Moist Tour, Jim Jeffries, the Moist Tour, new shows.
The U.S. tour. You got some
In
dates.
the US, they'll never get cancelled, the US tour. All right.
Oh, the shows are in Florida.
Yeah, okay. So I added a new show to the Beacon Theatre, which will be right around now, I think, if we're coming in. We added an extra night.
No, it's in September.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, when's this podcast coming out?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Well,
Did you think we were pre-recording September
why don't you
episodes right
see
now?
me at the Beacon Theatre? I've added an extra show at the Beacon Theatre in September. Los Angeles, I have added an extra show to the Ace Theatre. That's Sunday, November the 7th. I think you get that at Access Tickets. Minneapolis, Sunday, November 20th, extra show added. Saturday, November 20th, extra show added in Minneapolis. Extra show in December, if you're looking for something to do around Christmas, in San Francisco, Sunday, December 18th.
19.
Well, it's very small print, 19th. December 19th.
going
Look, go
wrong.
under the fucking thing. If you're in San Francisco, figure it out, people.
Where can they find the dates?
JimJeffries.com.
Yeah, maybe they should just go there.
Go to JimJeffries.com.
Yeah, but then-
for all your Jim Jeffries needs.
So it's New York.
I talked Jack into coming to Chicago for your Chicago show. We're both going to be there.
My kind of town.
So it's New York, Minneapolis, San Francisco, and LA. Extra
Yeah,
shows.
extra shows. All those other shows, the original shows are sold out.
Wow.
Going great guns. Now, there are some shows on the tour that aren't selling as good. Fort Myers, don't worry, you'll be able to get tickets. Let's do some ads. Green Chef. Green Chef's expert chefs design flavorful recipes that go way beyond ordinary for a diverse array of meal plans and plenty of options to choose from each week. Everything is hand-picked, featuring organic vegetables and high-quality proteins delivered to your door, pre-measured. That means they measure it before you get it. Look it up. And mostly prepared in insulated packaging. Don't know what that means. I do though. My favorite is the honey citrus grilled chicken or the orange miso chicken. I like chicken. And I like it grilled, and I also like it miso. Go to greenchef.com/I-don't-know-100 and use the code I-don't-know-100 to get 100. What? This can't be right. What? $100 off? That's what it says. That's our biggest discount of anything we've got, I think. So obviously they're going to kill you on the shipping. What? And free shipping. That's greenchef.com/I-don't-know-100 and use the code I-don't-know-100 to get $100 off, including free shipping. The #1 meal kit for eating well. Summer's here. It's bright outside. It's natural lighting. And living ain't easy if you've got swamp ass, that swampy, pooey ass. How will you stay on top of sweaty bottom? Oh, glad you asked. Try a refreshing spray from Hello Tushy Bidet. Keep your sweaty crack clean all summer long with the brand new Hello Tushy 3.0 modern bidet attachment. It's a stylish, eco-friendly, refreshing little shower for your bot. Hello Tushy 3.0 cleans soggy butts like a champ, but it doesn't stop there. You think that would be enough for it? Like if I cleaned an asshole better than anyone else, I'd think myself, I'll probably rest on me laurels. But not Hello Tushy 3.0. It also cleans itself. See, if I was an ass cleaner, I'd do a tremendous job. There'd just be shit over my hands all day. because I'd never fix it. But not the Hello Tushy 3.0. No one wants to work up a sweat in 100 degrees heat, and that's why Hello Tushy Bidets attaches to your existing toilet. So you don't have to install it, there's no hard work. With no electricity, extra plumbing needed, and Hello Tushy cuts toilet paper. That's pretty good, it cuts usage to 80%. Doesn't physically cut toilet paper, but you will use less toilet paper. So it pays for itself in just a few months. How can you afford not to get one? Because you can. Plus, Hello Tushy got your ass covered with a 60-day risk-free guarantee and a 12-month warranty. I don't know if they want you to send it back or you just write them a letter. Either way, it doesn't sound like a win for anyone there, so just keep it. I've lost the bottom of my advert here. Okay, I gotta go down a bit. Hold on, just keep filming, Jack. This is good stuff. Already got a Hello Tushy? Treat your ass to the new 3.0 model. If you're new to the revolution, join millions of happy Hello Tushy customers right now and have a clean butt with every flush. Defeat Swampers. Go to hellotushy.com/Jim and get 10% off plus free shipping. It does say it. Look, I assume it's a misprint, but they say it, so you're getting free shipping. This is a special offer for our listeners at hellotushy.com/Jim for 10% off. hellotushy.com/Jim.
All right, time to introduce our guest for today. Please welcome to the show, Forrest Shaw.
Hey! How you doing? I'm a big fan of the podcast.
The topic today is, where are the bodies hidden?
No.
Correct. I think you probably know what the topic is, right?
When there's a bloke that's like, I used to live in Florida, now I relocated.
Are you done with the impression of me, Kelly? That was all?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. It's so hard to do.
And Jack is Kelly.
Yeah, he's getting high, waving a dildo around.
You're just throwing stuff.
All right, well, I guess I see how you feel
Your
about
dog's
me.
about to chew on that dildo.
What's that?
The dog's about to chew on the dildo.
He loves it.
Hold on, let me get the...
Dang it, Kelly.
Arnie was just peacefully taking a nap and you threw a dildo at him. I would never do that to him.
All right, so it's still judging a book by its... Well, you go, Kelly. It's your show.
Yeah, so why don't you ask him a few questions, see what he's here to talk about.
Okay.
Have I written any books?
Does your specialty subject involve manatees?
Yes.
Wow, he got it on the first try. Great job. There's a first time for everything.
I just want to say that well, you can introduce me.
Okay, Forrest Shaw is a former marine biologist. For 7 years, he was the manager of the Miami-Dade County Manatee Protection Program. He is also the co-host of the I Don't Know About That podcast with Jim Jeffries, SaveTheManatees.org.
Oh, I was going to say Save the Manatee.
Okay.
Yeah, well... so I'm not saying I'm the best expert on manatees, but I think I remember enough about manatees, and I won't get anything wrong. I know that. So I can't wait for people to correct me online. I did this for many years, and I think I can answer all these questions that we got. But I will say, if you do want to support manatees, SaveTheManatee.org is the website to go to. They're based in Florida, and they have a bunch of different things that you can donate on there. You can adopt a manatee.
Ooh.
Comes live in your house with you.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Ooh.
Swimming pool.
Yeah.
Well, as you guys may know, Jim is going to try to tell us everything he thinks he knows about manatees. I will prod him along with questions, and we will be scoring him. So, Forrest, you'll be grading him on accuracy.
Yeah.
I will grade him on, or Jack will grade him on confidence.
That's right.
I will grade him on etc. If you get a 0 through 10, you are a blubbery bitch.
Ooh.
11 through 20, Hugh Manatee.
Mm-hmm.
21 through 30, Hugh Jack Manatee.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What? What's the hue? What's the hue? Is that they called? Okay, I'll probably already
Like humanity.
Like humanity.
Oh,
Hugh
humanity.
Manatee.
Oh, yeah.
Then Jack
Yeah.
Hugh
Humanity.
Jack Manatee.
Hugh
Okay.
Jack
All right. That went well. Great. All right. Let's start. What is a manatee?
It's an American dolphin. That's the only difference is when you get the lovely dolphins in other countries, they're slim and they're sleek and they can swim. And the diet over here is terrible. And the American dolphin.
Okay.
No, they're like a fat fucker. They're the fat fuck of the sea. They're like they look like they should be in smaller bodies, but they're overeat. And they sort of they'd be related to walruses and seals would be what they're close. It's like if a walrus fucked a seal, and then there was like some Marvel comic sort of radioactive thing that happened. That bang, manatee.
Okay.
All right. Is a manatee a reptile, mammal, amphibian, or a fish?
It's a mammal. I believe they have blowholes in them.
Okay. What is it?
I don't think it's amphibian. I've never seen one walking around the high street. I've never seen one in a Miami nightclub. Like, yeah, they don't let us people in. You know, maybe. You know.
How many other
I don't know.
amphibians do you see at Miami nightclubs?
I've had a chat with a turtle.
That's a reptile.
What is another name for a manatee?
What's the name for a manatee?
Aside from the fat fuck of the sea.
Fat fuck of the sea.
American dolphin.
Fat fuck of the sea is a good name though. Manatee, super porpoise.
Super porpoise. Okay. How many types of manatees are there, or species?
7.
Okay. Are dugongs manatees?
Sure.
Wait, do you know what a dugong is?
No, it's a manatee. Shut up, Forrest. I'll get to you in a second.
They're in Australia.
Every
That's
other
why I
guest
wanted-
has been able to follow the fucking
Okay,
formula.
sorry.
He's
What-
Jay Lenoing it. today.
what is a Steller's sea cow?
Stellar sea cow. That's where manatees get their hamburgers.
Okay.
Cow
So
meat.
it's a shop.
Okay.
All right. How large is a full-grown Florida manatee?
What, in weight or length? Or both? You want both? I'll give you
Both, yeah. Yeah, give me what you know.
They grow to be 9 feet long and they weigh 900 pounds.
All right. How large is a baby manatee when they are born?
See, this could be a trick. It could be a fucking tadpole. I want to say that they get out. I'd say the size of, it'd be 3 feet long, 90 pounds.
Okay.
No, 150 pounds.
All right. How long can they hold their breath for?
It'd be something like 20 minutes or something like that. There'd be like 20 minutes.
Okay.
They have a hole. That's why I'm saying they're a mammal, that they've got a breathing hole. So they
Okay.
have to come out. So I know that dolphins can sleep with half their brain can be asleep and then the other half of their brain can be asleep because they have to remember to swim up to give air and all that type of stuff. So it'll be a while.
All
20
right.
minutes.
What's unique about their teeth?
They're made out of Skittles.
No, I didn't think you were going to
No,
get that
I'm
one.
only
Chase the
joking.
rainbow.
Starburst.
Starburst. Okay. Made out of Starburst. What do they eat and how do they eat?
Well, up until about 10 years ago, their main diet was forest cum.
Wow. That's keeping it alive.
It was the only thing that wouldn't rot the starburst. What do they eat? They eat plankton. They eat plankton, and they eat other fish. They eat smaller fish than them.
Okay. A manatee has prehensile lips. What does that mean?
It's like the Kardashians, like in season 5, the 2 younger ones, Kylie and all that, before they became hot. They had the lips.
So hensile means fillers. It was pre-fillers.
Pre-fillers,
Okay.
yeah.
Pre-fillers. All right. Is a manatee a ruminant or a non-ruminant?
I've heard Forrest say this word, so I'm going to say that it is a ruminant. The rumor is that it's a ruminant.
Do you have any idea what that means?
I don't need to be fucking pride for questions from you. Just stick to the bloody. Just stick to the fucking manatees.
Yeah.
If I answer
You already
the
got it
question,
wrong, so you can
you
move
know
on.
what that is. Either I got it right or I did.
No, you got it
The
wrong.
answer is no. I don't know what that is.
Okay. When do they reach sexual maturity?
I guess they must live for what? I assume it's the same as the humans, so 45. I'm hoping.
Okay. What is their gestation period?
How long are they preggers for?
Yeah.
I'm going to say 4 months.
4 months. All right. We'll get 2 or 3 more in here. Can they communicate with each other? If so, how?
Yes, they'd have a bit of sonar on them.
Okay. Are
Yeah, and through winking gestures.
All right. What are the threats to the Florida manatee?
Well, it'd be okay. So it wouldn't be raising sea level. That's just giving them more hope.
They like climate change.
This is giving them more space. I would say rednecks would be their number 1 threat.
Rednecks number 1.
It's,
All right.
It's pretty good.
How many are left?
I've seen 2, and that was in a space of that much water, and there was more water around. I want to say they're endangered, but not too endangered. So I'm going to go. There's still 1 million of them.
All right.
Hmm.
All right, Forrest, how did he do on a scale of 0 to 10 on accuracy?
I was hoping to give him a 0 because no one's ever given him a 0, but he got a couple sort of right by accident. But those, I'm gonna give him a 1.
1.
Yeah.
All right, Jack, how do you do on confidence?
Man, titty.
1.
I'm gonna give him a 5 in confidence because of that meltdown at one point where he goes, I don't need to hide from you.
Okay.
Mm,
All right,
okay.
so we got a 6.
You're new to this, Jack.
I'm gonna give him a 3 on etc. for his pajama pants. That's a 9, and you are a blubbery bitch. Perfect.
Look, I've never said I know a lot about manatees. I'll tell you what I do know.
I like how he thinks we're accusing him of like, why the fuck didn't you study for this?
I think Forrest took me out to see some once. That was a day.
Yeah. I usually take people to see manatees when I'm in Florida if they haven't seen them. Winter's the best time.
I've never heard of them. I don't think we have them in Australia. I do think they're the fat fucks of the sea. I hope I got my 1 point for that. I feel like they are American dolphins that just sort of are fat and fucking lazy. And not that Americans are lazy.
Well, you have an animal that's very closely related to manatees in Australia. It's called a dugong. That's why I thought you'd heard of it.
Oh, dugong. Never heard of them either.
Also, I love that you said not that Americans are lazy. You're a new American citizen doing an interview from bed in your pajama pants.
Oh no, I'm bringing down the average for America. I'm not helping the American workforce by any stretch of the imagination.
Babbel. This summer, get the most out of your travels abroad by learning a language of your destination with Babbel, the #1 selling language learning app. From ordering in restaurants to asking directions or gaining a deeper understanding of the culture. Babbel makes the whole process of learning a new language activity fun and easy. With bite-sized lessons you can actually use in the real world. Babbel is a can't-miss travel essential. Now, I myself, you wouldn't know this to look at me. I'm not well versed in the other languages. So I've decided that I'm going to join Babbel and I'm going to learn Spanish. Mamma mia. I'm looking forward to that. Babbel's 15-minute lessons make it the perfect way to learn a language on the go. I'm not even good at English, to be honest. Unlike the infamous language classes you took in high school, Babbel designs their courses with practical, real-world conversations in mind. You'll get to use in everyday life. Other language learning apps use A1 for their lesson plans, but Babbel lessons were created by over 100 language experts. Ooh. See, the other one, some bloke's just written the bloody thing, and then Babbel comes in with all the experts to make it perfect. Their teaching method has been scientifically proven to be effective. With Babbel, you can choose from 14 different languages, including Spanish, French, Italian, and German. Plus, Babbel's speech recognition technology helps you to improve your pronunciation and accent. There are so many ways to learn with Babbel. In addition to lessons, you can access podcasts, games, videos, stories, and even live classes. Right now, when you purchase a 3-month Babbel subscription, you will get an additional 3 months for free. You don't have to be a math person at 6 months. 6 months and you're only paying for 3. 6 months at the price of 3. Just go to babbel.com and use the promo code I don't know. That's BABBEL.com, code I don't know, for an extra 3 months free. CBD isn't about what you feel, it's what you don't feel. Stress, anxiety, pain. I use CBD myself sometimes if I've been playing golf and my muscles are sore or whatnot, which is often because I'm a terrible golfer and I think my swing's not great. I use CBD to make me feel better. Feels is a premium CBD that will help keep your head clear and feel your best. It's hassle-free, delivered directly to your door. CBD naturally helps and can reduce stress, anxiety, pain, sleeplessness, and there's no hangover with CBD or addiction. Just place a few drops of Feels under your tongue and feel the difference within minutes. The thing to remember about CBD is that finding a right dose is important. Everyone's different, so don't overdo it. It's up to you. I'm not a doctor, you see. I'm not a doctor. In fact, Feels offers a free CBD hotline to help you guide your personal experience so that you will find your perfect dose. The Feels customer service team is dedicated to making sure you get the best out of your CBD. So they'll nurse you through the experience. You'll be ready to go. No more anxiety, no nothing. You got the number there to go. Join the Feels monthly membership. Makes your self-care easy. You save money on every order and you can pause or cancel at any time. Hold on, I bloody lost the thing again, Jack. It's down here. Okay, oh, no, it's good. It's good. Start feeling better with Feels. Become a member today by going to feels.com/IDK and you will get 5% off your first... Wait, I got to read that again. A bloody typo here. They've written 50%. There wouldn't be 50%. They're offering half price.
What?
With your first order and free shipping? How are Feels making money? All right, well, I've said it, so it means it's true. So go to, that's Feels, FEALS.com/IDK to become a member and get 50% automatically taken off your first order with free shipping. Feels, FEALS.com/IDK.
All right, let's go through these questions. All right, Forrest, what is a manatee? Jim said it's an American dolphin. Other countries have sleek dolphins. Fat fuck of the sea. They look like they should be in smaller bodies, but they overeat. Close to walruses or seals.
Yeah, that was wrong. So when you say American dolphin, okay, there is an animal in Australia called a dugong that is closely related to a manatee. They're in the same family called Sirenia. And so the dugongs branched off on one side and the manatees branched off on the other side, but they're very closely related. And the difference is a dugong looks just like a manatee, except its tail looks like a dolphin tail. Whereas a manatee's tail, the different types of manatees have like a paddle round shaped tail. So the fat dolphin would be more accurate for the Australian version, which is the dugong. So
Oh,
in your
all
face.
right.
Yeah.
All right. I got to
it's-
tell you that everything you said then sounded more complicated than when we were doing the Lord of the Rings. If you took that out and put it in the Lord of the Rings documentary and went, the dugong sees the manatee and their thing and their tail, it sounded very mythical to me. All that.
I said
But, all
Serenia.
right, so
The family Serenia is, yeah. But just the answers that I think would have been good. I think you're a little bit more combative with me as a guest.
I
than you
also
normally
think
would
part
be.
of it might be you're
Just 'cause I didn't write a
watching
book.
TV at the same time.
I should turn that up. You're right.
Like, I didn't fucking understand any of that.
I'm
Okay.
watching
So,
more things about you in your stomach.
Acceptable animal name, things to say a manatee would be a marine mammal would be good. An herbivore. They live in an aquatic environment. Totally would have been acceptable. Any of those, not fat fuck of the sea. I'm not gonna. That's why I didn't give you.
Fat fuck of the sea implies that they live in an aquatic environment.
Okay.
And they're fat.
But you did get mammal right, but the problem with you saying that you think they're a mammal is that afterwards you said that they might be a tadpole at the beginning, which would imply they're amphibian. You said something about a turtle, which would be like, yeah. So you were all over the place.
Look, I agree with science. I understand that dolphins and stuff are mammals. And we've had this argument before.
Mhm.
I still think they're closer related to fish than they are to us, just because they'd have a better conversation.
Yeah, we've heard about
a
the
dolphin, if a manatee started chatting to a fish, it would have way more to talk about than to talk to us if it could talk.
Okay, well, the conversation might be like this. The fish would come up and be like, what are you doing? And then the manatee is nursing its young under its flipper where the mammary gland would be and be like, I'm feeding this baby milk. You don't do that? And the fish would be like, what the fuck are you talking about? We don't need milk. And then it'd be like, what's that on your body? Hair? And be like, yeah, I have hair. And then
You seem to think all the fish are going to get together and body shame each other. That's not what they chat about.
That's not what they chat about.
Like what fucking shit society is the fish world where they're all just going, what's that on your body? That looks gross. No, they come up
What
and
are they going to
go,
talk about? TV?
Hey,
They don't. They don't have
they walk up
Instagrams.
and
They
go-
don't know that they're not hot.
they go, have you seen the coral over there? And you go, no, I haven't seen the coral. Oh, it's pretty good. That's what they chat about. Coral's their TV.
Corals, their TV. All right. Are dugongs manatees? He said sure.
They're not. So that's what I was saying before.
They're closely related.
They're
Kelly,
they're closely related. But I thought you would know them. I thought in Australia you had seen a dugong or know them because they'd definitely be in the Queensland area because they'd be in the warmer waters. They probably wouldn't be. I don't know their whole range down there. And there was another animal called a Steller sea cow that we asked about. That was also in the dugong side of the Serenia family. They're extinct now. They were hunted to extinction. They live like in the Bering Sea. They couldn't dive was their big problem, and they were massive, and they were like killed for their just their blubber and just probably their meat and stuff too.
So just to confirm, Steller sea cow is not where manatees get their burgers.
No, it's not.
Okay,
So that was wrong as well.
Okay.
Why is it
Dugong-
called the Serenia category? Whatever it's called.
Serenia is the family. So then from that you branch off, and this is the Trichechidae I'm sorry. I might have the family in the order wrong. See, this is why you shouldn't have me on. But
The comments are gonna fucking be terrible.
Oh no! Hold on. Okay.
Check your notes.
Let's keep that in there. And then, so the manatees, there's 3 different types of manatees. There's the West Indian manatee, which is the kind you find in Florida. There's 2 subspecies of that, the Florida manatee and the Caribbean manatee. They're very, very, very similar. They'd be hard to tell apart, but that's the West Indian manatee. There's an Amazonian manatee in South America, and there's a West African manatee in Africa, of course. So those are your 3
how many was that? 5? I said 7.
There's 3. There's 3 types of manatees. There's one, the West Indian manatee, that technically is divided into 2 species. So you could say 4, but yeah, you said 7. So you're wrong on that.
Close
But what
enough.
about the dugong? That's very closely related
Not a
to the
manatee.
manatee.
Yeah, but it's not a manatee. So you wouldn't call it a manatee. You call it a dugong. So,
How
Yeah.
large is a full-grown Florida manatee? He said 9 feet long and
yeah.
900 pounds.
Yeah,
9,000.
this is where you
I
got
don't
your points. On average, an adult manatee will be between 9 and 10 feet, and they'll get to around 1,000 pounds. So you're really close on that. They can get as big as 13 feet and 3,500 pounds. So that's when they get.
But most of those manatees are in the Midwest.
We only have corn.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, the manatees, the reason they're called the Florida manatee, which I thought is like, it is, I didn't realize this till we were like putting this together, the Florida manatee, yeah. Is because that species lives primarily in Florida. They will,
and they do meth.
yeah. They will make their some of them have gone as far north as like Chesapeake Bay, and they'll make their way all the way over to Louisiana on the Gulf Coast side, and some of them gone up the Mississippi River and end up in like I think near St. Louis or something like that. But those ones have had to been helped to get back to Florida because it gets too cold. A couple of them had to.
I also hear that the Florida manatee is a swing voter. Can't decide which way it's going to go right to the very end of the election.
Super anti-mask. Let's see. How large is a baby manatee when they're born? He said 3 feet long, 150 pounds.
Yeah, you were close at the beginning. It's around 3 feet, but it's 60 to 70 pounds. You changed it from 90 to 150. So you didn't.
Yeah, but the manatee got diabetes during pregnancy.
During pregnancy.
Gestational diabetes. How long can they hold their breath?
I was 10 and a half pounds, right? Because my mum got diabetes during pregnancy, right? And they didn't know that in the 70s that diabetic people have massive babies. So anyway, little tidbit about me.
How long can they hold their breath for? He says 20 minutes because they've got a blowhole. They'd eventually have to come up.
This is where you got your other half point. If they're resting, sleeping, they'll hold their breath for 20 minutes. And they usually do this. They'll either float near the surface or they'll go to the bottom of where they're at. And they're always in shallow water. You won't find manatees. They're generally in 8 to 10 feet of water or shallower. The Florida manatees. We're talking mostly about Florida manatees here at the end, so just so everyone knows. But so 20 minutes if they're resting, if they're active, they're swimming, they're feeding, or any other activity, 3 to 5 minutes they have to take a breath. And they don't have a blowhole. You're wrong. They breathe through their nostrils. They have 2 nostrils right where you'd expect them on the front of their face there, and they're like specially made so that they seal up so that no water can get in there. And sometimes they don't even come all the way to the surface. They'll just stick their nose above the surface, open their nostrils, exchange air, and then they'll go back down and hold their breath again.
So technically they have 2 blowholes.
No, because it's not a blowhole. It's nostrils. So it's
Are
totally
they blowing out of it?
They'll breathe in and out of it. Yeah.
I call my nose a blowhole.
There you okay.
All right, guys, give him a point
Yeah,
there.
give him another point.
So
You're still a blubbery bitch, though. Sorry.
So 20 minutes was right for when they're sleeping. The little bit different than dolphins. They'll sleep and then they'll have to wake up, come back up for a breath, and then go back to sleep again. If they're swimming really fast, or like their top speed, which is at best 15 miles per hour. Sometimes they're usually going slower than that. They'll 3 to 5 minutes. So there you go.
All right.
Top speed's 15 miles an hour.
In bursts, in short bursts. Most of the time, they're just lollygagging around. They're just floating around, or they just flick their tail once or twice. And, they're very big, so they can propel themselves a few feet, but they don't. Yeah, 15 miles an hour is.
So how far would a manatee travel in a day? Like if it was just doing its normal day work, a mile.
They sleep almost half the day. Like on average, I know that let's say like some will say a more active one will only sleep 3 or 4 hours a day, but most of them sleep closer to 10, 12 hours a day. So half the day they're sleeping. The rest of the day, they're pretty much just looking for food or fresh water or warm water if it's cold out, because they can't be in cold water for too long. So
a manatee is basically Jim in quarantine.
Yeah.
Get up, ride a bike for 3 minutes,
Yeah.
get back in bed, look for food, look for sex.
Breathe.
Yeah, exactly. I do. I'm a manatee.
One of the questions that we didn't get to was, are they smart? So that kind of ties in this. And the answer is probably not. Their brains, if you saw their brains, would be completely smooth. If you look at look at a human's brain or dolphins of the cortical folds that are in there, that's like a sign of intelligence. A manatee's brain is smooth, very smooth. And it also has, they measure the ratio of the weight of the brain to the weight of the animal. And they look at that as a sign of intelligence too. Manatees have the lowest of any mammal that is out there. So, but they don't need to know a lot. They don't have any natural predators. All they need to know is like wake up, breathe, eat some food, and, fart a couple times and then have sex once in a while. And that's it. They don't need much of a brain.
Sounds dope.
So they're dumb animals. Did they ever trick you at work?
We had trouble catching some sometimes. We had some that were tagged, that were either injured or and they're rehabilitated, and then you put like a radio tag on them to follow them, and you'll go out and you'll weigh them and see if they're doing okay.
I thought that you just spray painted the side of them with your tag.
No, and trying to catch one isn't as easy as you think. I don't know why you think it's easy. Maybe you don't think it's easy.
Well, what about the people
How do
that
you
like,
catch them?
Yeah, because the people that put Trump on the back of one of the manatees, right, in Florida.
Yeah, that was so because they're very slow animals and they don't move around a lot. Sometimes they'll just be kind of hang out in one area for hours. Stuff will grow on it like algae. That's what's growing on the back. So even they're a nice gray color, but sometimes you'll see them browner or kind of greenish or something. That's algae that's actually growing on their back. So somebody, when they wrote Trump in it, they actually dug out, it looked like the algae to me on that, which still is not, you don't want to be scraping any animal. It's still a terrible thing and whoever did it, if they were caught, would be put in jail because it's a federal offense. So that wasn't something they carved into their skin. Thank God, that was just something into the algae. But yeah, that's how that happened. So yeah.
And then you said it's a lot harder to catch one than you'd think. How would you go about catching one?
Well, these ones had radio transmitters on them, so you'd wait a couple months and you'd want to catch one again. This one that had been rehabilitated, for instance, and was released, you wanted to make sure it was eating properly. So you wanted to make sure its weight was either higher than you had been, or at least at the same weight when you released it. So there's around the bottom of their tail, this little area, we mentioned this peduncle, it's called, where the base of the tail narrows and then there's a big paddle in the back. There'd be a radio transmitter that floats on the top of the surface that you'd be able to get with the equipment that you had, that you'd be able to identify that's the manatee you're looking for. You take this capture boat that has an engine in the middle of the boat, not on the back, so the propeller's not on the back, so it's in the center of the boat, so you're not cutting anything, the animal up in the back, and then you'd basically find it and circle with the boat around with a net, and then get it in the net and pull it onto this boat, and you're almost sinking the boat to get on there, and then the boat itself has a scale and a whole bunch of stuff that you can like bring up and weigh the manatee. They'll do like a sonogram on it to see if its blubber thickness is decreasing or increasing or staying the same, and you just kind of assess the health.
Is there like an automated crane, or is it manual? You've got a bunch of people.
There's a crane
pulling
on the boat. No, because they're the 1,000 pounds minimum.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Like,
I'm like, how many fucking people would you need?
You'd need 6 or 7 people to pull the animal onto the boat.
Right.
That you do manually, and then once it's on there, you get the net off, and then you put straps underneath it. And there's an actual structure on the boat that would lift it up as like a scale. And then that's how you'd weigh it. It's pretty.
Well, why wouldn't you just leave them alone? Just leave them alone.
Because if the animal is not doing well, if it had been rehabilitated, like let's say it was hit by a boat, or it had got something else had happened to it that caused it to stop eating, like it was stressed out from being in the cold too long because they can't take that for too long. Once you're releasing it, you want to make sure it's doing okay. So if 2 or 3 months afterwards you've seen it's lost a significant amount of weight, you want to bring it back in that captivity and feed it again and try and rehabilitate it so it's strong enough to get in the wild. That's why.
Now, this is a question for you, Forrest.
Thanks.
Being an expert in manatees ever get you any pussy? Was there manatee fans? Were there girls in the bars in Miami where you're like, I deal with manatees, man, and they were like, oh, this guy's cool.
I don't know.
There was marine biologist. People always seem more impressed that you're a marine biologist than you were a comic.
Definitely, I think people were more impressed that I was a marine biologist. But I don't know if there was a direct like I've worked with manatees and then I'm hooking up. But I think that women, it was a good in to talk to women. Like, and first I would think I was bullshitting, and then I'd have a picture of me with a manatee on my phone, like, hey, if I was lying, what would have happened? That kind of.
Yeah, that's good as well. And it's always good to have a picture with someone fatter than you, so you look trim in the photo. Did you have a choice to work with other mammals of the sea, and you chose that just for the photo ops?
Of course, yeah. Everyone looks slimmer next to a manatee.
It's his online dating profile. It's him and a manatee. It's like, I'm on the right.
I once went to the Great Barrier Reef with Forrest, and he got on a wetsuit and everything. He goes, I'll take you out scuba diving. And he was like a fucking graceful dolphin, he was. All the Japanese and Chinese tourists were losing their fucking shit looking at him. He got more photos than the fish.
That was the most sincere you've ever been to this point in our entire relationship. when I got out of the water, you're like, you were like an angel in the water. But you were very sincere. You were like, wow. Like I was like, yeah, and then for many years I was in the water. I knew how to swim at the same time when I knew how to walk.
So first I'd be swimming tentatively, like with the oxygen, just breathing, just don't die, just swimming along, trying to breathe. I always liken scuba diving to anal sex. I can see why other people enjoy it, and when I remembered to breathe, it wasn't that bad. It's more receiving than giving.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was scuba diving, and I was watching Forrest, and Forrest he was like a little mermaid. He'd be like doing signals to you. There's fish over here, and then Forrest would wave at me like, "Come to this fish," and I would sort of moonwalk over there, right? Very, very gentle, very, very gentle. And Forrest, if he got to the spot where I was meant to be early, to keep himself occupied, he'd swim around in figure eights and do backflips and shit. It was bizarre.
Hey Jim, watch this. It's like a child.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it was this rotating large man just in the water. It was fucking. No, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding about the Asian tourists. Look, like I'm not saying the Asians and cameras or whatever like that.
No, it was Golden Week then. There was a lot of. It was
Golden Week. What is that? China? Is Golden Week China?
It was all Chinese tourists. Yeah.
What's Golden Week?
So if I might remember Golden Week wrong, I never knew about this, right? But what happens in China is that I think it might be 20% of the population, right? The Chinese, and they only tell you 1 week out. 1 week out, they have a lottery where 20% of the population gets next week off.
Oh wow!
And I don't remember if that's
Japanese.
That sounds about right.
Japanese.
Oh, it is.
Is it Japanese Golden Week?
Yeah.
And is it 20%?
I don't have that. It says Golden Week is a collection of 4 national holidays within 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
In combination with well-placed weekends, the Golden Week becomes one of Japan's 3 busiest holiday seasons besides New Year and the Obon Week.
Yeah, because when we went out there, we had to drive up from Townsville to Cairns, which is 4 hours. So we left early in the morning. It was me, you, Kate, and Hank. And then we drive there, and we almost missed the boat. And I ran in. I was like, we got to get on the blah, blah, blah. And I remember the captain came out. He was holding some packages or whatever. And I guess he saw that it was you. And he goes, well, we're certainly not going to leave without Jim Jeffries. And we're like, ah. And then we got on there, and every seat was taken up by these tourists. And he just let us sit in the bridge. Remember, we sat in the bridge of the boat up there with the captain.
Yeah, we sat in the bridge, but it was Golden Week because all the Japanese they get told a week out that they get the holiday, and then they all just, a lot of them nicked off to Australia for their vacation as they would. You got a week off, why not, right? Yeah. And they were very. There's pictures of Forrest swimming on people's mantles in Japan.
I don't know about that. But.
Okay, so what is unique about their teeth? I assume not made out of Starburst.
No.
I'll have a real go at this. They're hollow.
No, they're all molars, and they never stop growing. So they'll start growing at the back of their jaw, and then they'll move forward. And as they get to a certain point forward, they'll just fall out. And the reason is because it's another question here is what they eat. They're herbivores. They don't eat plankton. They don't eat fish. They eat only plants. And in eating plants from the bottom of the floor, they're gonna have a lot of sand in it and stuff. So imagine eating food with sand in it is gonna wear your teeth down pretty quick. So they're not like discriminatory, like we gotta get the sand out or whatever. They're just chewing on vegetation. The sand wears down their teeth, so they have this special system where the teeth will keep falling out in the front and they'll grow new ones. So yeah, there you go. That's the answer to that.
All right, we just talked about what they eat. So it's not.
Oh yeah, and so they eat
not forest cum.
Not forest cum.
Well, maybe
not plankton. I mean, it could have happened. But vegetation, and it doesn't. They prefer seagrass, which grows on the bottom of the seafloor. It's benthic, as they call it, on the bottom, and they prefer that. That's their preferred food. But they will eat food even out of the water. Like if they're in a canal and there's like a tree hanging, you can see them like coming up out of the water, grabbing some of the leaves. They'll eat anything that's like some sort of vegetation that they find. They're not very picky, but they prefer the seagrass, and they eat, I think it's like between 5 and 15% of their body weight a day in vegetation. So if they weigh 1,000 pounds, that one's eating 100 or 150 pounds of vegetation a day, wet vegetation.
So is there an argument that a vegan diet makes you fat?
Yes.
Well, I mean,
Too
I
many
don't think
carbs.
that's ever been disputed. I think that there's plenty of fat vegans. I don't think you still have to eat sensible. Like you could eat sugar is still vegan as far as I know, right? So you could eat tons of sugar. You could just drink soda and eat potato chips and that wouldn't be good. So, but they're not as fat as you think. I mean, they have a layer of blubber, but they have to stay
They're big boned.
Yeah. They are big bone. Their bones are all solid. All manatee bones are solid. There's no bone marrow in them, which makes them very susceptible, to getting damaged easily by a boat strike, which is what we'll talk about later.
I'll tell you what I know about manatees. If there was a nightclub in the sea, that'd always be the doorman.
But they're very gentle. They're not aggressive animals.
Yeah, no, you need to keep calm so fights don't break out. But you need the size there. You don't want a crazy guy fucking on the door. You need someone with a steady.
Most of the
head.
security guards I know are actually like giant teddy bears. Like my friend Winston is 7'1", and he's like
Holy
the
smokes.
sweetest guy ever.
Yeah.
But was a bodyguard for like major celebrities.
Yeah.
He's just scary looking.
Yeah, I guess that checks out then. Manatees would be the doormen of the sea. Yeah. Yeah. So, anyways,
What are prehensile lips?
So anything that's prehensile on an animal is something that can grab something. It's like think of an elephant's trunk as prehensile. Certain monkeys have tails, or they can curl them around trees and hang them. So it's just kind of like something that could grasp or with a hand. So manatees have that face. If you've ever seen it, they have like two big flaps on
your
their front.
shirt.
Oh yeah, I have a manatee on today, but they have these two big flaps here, and they actually can use them like hands. So when they're in the sand looking for vegetation, they can actually manipulate and grab seagrass or any other vegetation with those lips and then move it into their mouth. And they use their flippers as well too, but they're very specialized lips, so they're prehensile lips. And
I still stand by my answer. I've seen a Kardashian close a garage door with it.
you could be right, actually. Maybe I'll give you another point for that. So
Manatees would be so good at oral if they could do it.
yeah, well,
Right?
I think they could.
Oh yeah. Manatees can do it.
69ing manatees. All right. Is a manatee a ruminant or a non-ruminant? And what the fuck is ruminant?
What did Jim say?
He said yes,
He
ruminant.
said ruminant.
Yeah,
and
they're-
then he said, don't fucking ask me all these questions. I don't know. Yeah.
Manatees are non-ruminants. So ruminant is like a cow where they will chew some food and basically a ruminant has multiple stomachs that they'll digest their food in, and a lot of times they'll chew, put it in their stomach, regurgitate it, chew it again, put it in another, and so that's what a ruminant is. A non-ruminant will digest only in one stomach. And so
well, that's a trick question then.
No.
I'll tell you all the things I know about manatees. They're non-humans. They're non-cats. They're non-cows. No, they're probably cows.
No, but that was one of the questions that we didn't answer. They're called sea cows.
Yeah.
They're called sea cows is another name for manatees. I forget what you said, fat fuck or something like that.
Fat
But
fuck of the sea,
Yeah,
American
but
dolphin,
they're not
and super
related to
porpoise.
cows. They're not related to cows. They're just dopey. But no one wants to eat a manatee. You said no natural predators. There's a lot of alligators down there. An alligator wouldn't take a chunk out of one?
now, well, okay, so they're not related to cows, but their babies are called calves. I should have said that when they're born. So when each animal has a certain name, so they're called calves when they're born. So, and they are called sea cows, even though they aren't related to cows. But that name was put on them. I don't know when that name was put on, but that's just what stuck with them. Even though their stomach system is different, they're more closely related to elephants than cows. That's so they have the prehensile lips, like a trunk of an elephant. They have the nails on their flippers, that's similar to elephants. They have some skeletal structure that's similar to elephants. When I was going back to Sirenian, what I said before, that is very closely related to where elephants branched off in the evolutionary scale. So they're not closely related to cows, even though that's the name. Now, alligator, so manatees can go in salt and fresh water and brackish water. So they could be in water where an alligator is. However, American alligators don't generally get bigger than manatees. Like for an alligator to come up and get onto the side, it wouldn't even really, they don't really mess with them because they're as big as them and they wouldn't attack something that big. Now, if there's a calf, a small manatee, a baby manatee, that's when there might be an issue. But the mother will protect it from the alligator. And they're very slow animals, but they're still very strong. They weigh 1,000 pounds or more when they're adults, and they're going to protect, their calves from any predators like that. But it isn't a natural predator. Like an alligator isn't inclined to eat a manatee. An alligator is going to eat fish, bird, turtle, things like that. There are saltwater crocodiles. The only time I've ever seen a manatee being messed around with eaten by another animal, I should say, it was already dead, and it was a dead baby manatee. It was on a golf course, and some crocodiles were fighting over it, but it was already had passed away. So it wasn't like they killed it. So
so they are amphibious. It was on a golf course?
it was dead. It was a dead baby. It was a baby. It was a calf. It was a calf manatee, and I was called to pick it up. So because anytime a manatee dies in Florida, the state has to do a necropsy on it.
An angel gets its wings.
Why would that happen? That seems so weird. So we
Every time a manatee dies
in Florida.
Florida.
Yeah, so it's a Florida manatee, and when it dies, they have to perform necropsy on it. They have to determine what the cause of death was. By the time
obviously.
By the time I had gotten there, well, that's what happened. The golf course called and said,
slice.
There's some gators, there's some crocodiles fighting over a baby manatee. By the time I got in there, they had done fighting. They didn't eat it, so they just left it there.
Fun.
Yeah.
So, did you used to have a beeper?
I did have a beeper. Yeah, when I had this job, I had a beeper, a pager, yeah.
Oh, okay. And so, like, you'd be talking to some bird in a bar and some Cuban chick in a bar in Miami. You'd be like, oh, yeah, I love Cuban food. Oh, yeah, I'd love to meet your family. Beep, 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 beep. Oh, there's a baby manatee on a golf course. I got to go.
I got to take this.
Yeah, we didn't get any 911 calls at night for manatees. It would usually wait till the next day. So.
We had a chance.
Did you ever have to? Is there any footage of you on the news going, the manatee population has decreased over the last decade due to blah, 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 blah? Did you ever do that?
No, I don't think there's any footage of me saying something like that, but there were some manatees that made their way up into like a culvert, a pipe system, a stormwater drainage system, and they ended up like a half a mile near the nearest water source, and they were in the parking lot of a hospital, but in the storm drains. And then
during that news story, Forrest was in the background on bath salts.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, you could see me on bath salts. I was there for that. I don't remember if I made the news there for that, but I don't remember ever being on the news for it. But I was heavily involved in manatee protection, Dade County. I was the guy you would call for a while.
He was like those blokes in the background of Good Morning America that hold the sign going, we've come from Kansas.
Let's see. When do they reach sexual maturity? He said same as humans, so 45.
Yeah, no. I mean, they're lucky to live that long in the wild, 45, because there's a lot of threats to them. But females, I think it's like 3 to 5 years, and then the males is a little bit longer. I think it's 5 to 7 is when they reach sexual maturity, and then. So the females could start, around 3-4 years could.
Yeah, but are they being forced by like a family member or something?
Yeah. Well, honestly, the way that they mate, they call them mating herds or something like that. Cavorting was a term that we'd use when we were doing manatee surveys if we saw the behavior. And it's generally one female trying to get away from about 8 or 7 males, so
manatee gangbang.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Like
yeah, it's all rape in their culture, right?
Yeah.
They're not good.
It's not, and the male manatees are not very discriminate. The one time we would call the police sometimes if we had a dead manatee and we'd have to pull it in somewhere to get it out of the water. And so this police were pulling a big manatee. It was probably like 11, 12 feet. It weighed probably 2,000 pounds. And it was a female manatee and it was dead. And they were dragging it behind the boat. They tie a rope to the base of the tail there, peduncle. And there was 4 or 5 male manatees following it, trying to have sex with the dead manatee.
Oh, no.
And they were pulling it up to a boat ramp, and all these kids were out there on their bikes and like, what's it doing? And there's a giant manatee penis out, like trying to penetrate this dead female manatee. And we're like, they're just playing, kids.
That was the float that got nixed from the Macy's Day Thanksgiving parade.
Yeah.
I'm always fascinated by this animals. Do they ever? Oh, hold on, about Steve. Oh, hey. Do they ever partner up?
Not really. Yeah, most.
There it is. Move the camera angle.
Not generally. I mean, you can see a group of manatees together, but they're not generally sticking together. The mother, when she gives birth, and that's a question coming up. So it's the gestation period is 13 months, not 4 months. So it's over a year. And she gives birth, and she won't have another calf for another 2 or 3 years. So it's a very slow process to build the population up. when that calf is born, the calf will stick with the mother for about 2 years, and then it'll be large enough and on its own after that. Sometimes they'll stick around a little bit longer than that. But so you'll see a mother and a calf together a lot of times, and sometimes you'll see another mother and a calf, and they might stick together. But and they'll sometimes congregate in areas where there's warm water, because in the winter when it's very cold, they can't be exposed to cold for too long. So they'll find these warm sources, and you'll see tons of manatees grouped together in these areas, but they're not generally in a herd, as you would say, like that. They tend to be more rogue, like on their own.
Quick question.
Are there any homosexual manatees? Do they exist?
I don't know, but I would say yes, because every animal that I've ever, I haven't seen any evidence to suggest the contrary, because there's homosexuality in almost every animal that's in the animal kingdom. They've shown evidence.
What about trans manatees?
I don't know about that. I'm not sure. Yeah,
I just know a good one-woman play, Womanities.
Womanities?
Womanities.
Yeah, Womanities.
Womanity.
And it would start like, I wasn't like all the other manatees. And it would just be a single manatee in a chair in the middle of the stage. It'd be a great play. Something to think about.
Yeah.
Could a female manatee use Jim as a dildo?
Sure, but I don't know if
they use it. They're close to elephants.
Yeah, it's true.
And we've already decided that Jim is an elephant dildo.
Not as big as elephants, though. So Jim couldn't crawl into the womb of a manatee. That you would get stuck halfway.
You could try.
How big's a manatee's dick?
I know I've seen them, and so
just on your internet
about 2 foot, 2 foot. Maybe
Yeah.
they could be
Why
a little
don't
bit
you
bigger.
put a ruler in your mouth and then double that?
Pretty girthy. Pretty girthy.
That was a good one. What is the
I feel like this is not how you would treat other guests on the show. I feel like you're a lot more considerate.
Wait, so you're pulling these huge manatees out of the water. What do you do with a dead manatee? Do you have a funeral?
No, well, first, it's called a necropsy. And like an autopsy is performed on a human. If it's an animal, it's called necropsy. So the state, the Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, have people that will show up with a specialized trailer. It's like half of a pipe. And you sink that into the water, you tie it to the manatee's tail, you crank it in, you pull the trailer out. If it's really decomposed, like it's been out in the water for a long time and it's decomposed, they'll do it on site because it's already kind of just turned into mush. If not, they would trailer it to wherever they were, to St. Petersburg, Florida. I think it's south of St. Petersburg. There's their lab there, and then they're going to determine what caused the death because they want to keep a database of that. This year, all right, there's a huge die-off of manatees in 2021. I think the number as of June 5th, so this has been a while ago, was already at 770, I'd want to say. And the record for any year was, I want to say 826 or 825, and that was 2018. So they're going to surpass that. We're in June right now. This comes out in July, this podcast. But
that's because the manatees don't socially distance properly. I heard how they have
COVID. Yeah, you think it's
anti-vaxxers.
COVID? Yeah. It's mainly due because they're all starving this year. There's not the food sources aren't where they used. They're not there anymore. The seagrass and stuff, because most of it is because of water quality, pollution. The seagrass isn't growing. There are people that will blame the manatees. There's a lot of people that don't like manatees. You'd think that everyone loves manatees. They're the gentle giant. They're the basically the mascot of Florida and stuff and people come there to see them. But there are people that don't like them because there are restrictions put in place to protect manatees. Speed zones for boats. They limit how development can be done. That because it'll take away their habitat, let's say. And so people don't think that manatees are taking away their livelihood. And so there is an argument that I'm sure people would make, the manatees ate all the grass and all the vegetation, that's why it's gone. That's not what's going on. They've shown that there's been studies done. It's well documented that, there's pollution. There's a lot of people that live in Florida, and there's a lot of runoff. There's nitrogen and phosphorus, and then that makes algal blooms, and that chokes off all the oxygen in the water. The plants die, and there's nothing for them to eat. So this year, they're seeing all these emaciated, starving manatees, and the number is going to easily get above what the record was. So I know I'm jumping ahead, but you said there's 1 million of them.
Million.
Now in Florida, they estimate there was around 7,700, 7,800 on last count.
Wow.
And almost 800 have died this year already. By the time this comes out, it could be closer to 900. So you're talking about over 10% of the population is gone already this year. That number is going to get higher. So you're going to get closer to 15% probably. And if you remember, 13-month gestation period, they have to wait 2 to 3 years to have another calf. So they don't repopulate rapidly. And there's other, the next year, there's going to be more that die as well because they're dying from boat strikes as well. Boats that are hitting them all the time that kill them as well because people are going fast in areas they shouldn't. So they have a lot of threats and there's not that many. They are not endangered anymore because during the Trump administration, the Department of the Interior said, hey, they're doing great. Their numbers are skyrocketing, even though they're only 7,800. So because they don't know what the historical number was, but 7,800 still seems low. They took them off the endangered list, made them threatened, which is the next step down. But we'll see what happens with their numbers now. They might get put back on the endangered list.
And that's just the Florida manatee.
The Florida manatee, yeah, which is the manatee,
Is that because Trump? Because, you always see with these government things that, like, there's some construction problem because there's an endangered bird that lives in the air or something like that. Do you reckon it's got something to do with Mar-a-Lago? I'm being serious about this.
I don't know if it's something to do with Mar-a-Lago, but it could because I don't know what the water's like right off Mar-a-Lago, but I'm sure there's seagrass there and stuff. But it is always development versus the environment. That's how it always works. And manatees live in shallow water. Like I was saying, they generally are in 8 to 10 feet water or shallower, which is near where the houses are in Florida and everyone that builds on their seawalls and their docks. So if you want to build a really long dock because you have a mega yacht and you want to pull it up to your house, you have to get that permitted and you have to get it. Whatever environmental department is overseeing that area has to come out and do a survey. And if they see a certain amount of seagrass or habitat that not only is good for a manatee, but it's good for fish or shellfish or anything like that, then they will not sometimes give that permit. And then people will be like, fucking manatees, or whatever animal they want to rail against. They're saying they're stopping me from doing what I want to do. I want to go fast on my boat. I want to build here or develop here, and they're not allowed to. So they look at these animals as like a problem in their lives, So I'm not saying it specifically Trump did that because of Mar-a-Lago, but I'm sure he had maybe there's some friends that wanted to build their dock somewhere. They wanted to do this, or they wanted to ease up restrictions. They want to go fast on their speedboats in areas where they make them go slow.
Because they have their Trump boat parades.
Yeah. So
that probably affected the manatees.
Yeah. So I years ago was at a boat show, and we had a booth set up with some pictures of manatees behind me, and it was just educational. And these drunk guys came up with imaginary shotguns. They were pretending they had shotguns, and they were pretending to shoot the manatees. And then they wiped clean all the literature I had off the table. And they told me I shoot the manatees once and then I shoot them twice to make sure they're dead. And there was like, no one did anything to help me. There's just drunk guys like, all right, guys, thanks. And we started cleaning up the literature and stuff. And it's like they believe. One of the guys told me that manatees killed his friend because his friend committed suicide because he lost his job because of manatees. It's like he was making a correlation because he works in a boatyard and he lost his job because manatees were restricting boat use. And it was like, it's hard not to laugh, even though he said his friend committed suicide. It was like, manatees did it. It was like,
so Jim was correct in saying that rednecks are the number one threat to manatees.
Yeah.
Loss of
I'm
habitat.
pretty much all right? Yeah.
No. Yeah, I'll give you another point for that because I said I should have given you another point there. Yeah, rednecks. It's boat strikes because, they're like I said, they're in shallow water. They have to come to the surface to breathe. And there's areas that they congregate in where there's food sources or warm water. And the state government and federally mandated has made these manatee zones where you have to go slow, especially in the winter, because when it's colder, they congregate in certain areas where it's warmer. And people are supposed to go idle speed with their boats, but some people still fly through there because if, manatees come in to breathe to the surface, or it's in shallow water and a boat hits it, it doesn't always kill it. If a boat runs over it and just hits it with its propeller, it might leave scars, but they could live through that. What really injures them is the blunt force trauma from the hull of a boat going 40 miles an hour, hitting a manatee. Because remember, I was telling you their bones aren't hollow like ours. They're solid. And that's so that they have ballast when they're like filling up their lungs so they can sink. And it's kind of like a scuba diver has a buoyancy compensator. They do the same thing. So their bones help to keep them submerged below the water, but it makes them very brittle when they're not hollow, and they'll just shatter, and then they'll have internal bleeding, and then they'll bleed out internally and die and stuff. So that's how they die a lot. If a manatee gets run over by a boat and the propeller hits it, they often live, even though they'll be in a lot of pain. They will heal. And almost every manatee that is out there in the wild can be identified by scars from boat propellers. Like there's a whole catalog where you can be like, that's this manatee because it has the scar. And when it initially gets struck by a boat with a propeller, it'll be red. Like you'll see it'll be a red wound, but then it heals white. But it doesn't ever go away. So it'll be like this white scarring. And if you ever go to Florida and you see manatees, you'll see all this white scarring on them. It's all from boat strikes, boat propellers and stuff like that. And they have this incredible ability to heal. There was one manatee, and God, I want to say his name was Scarface or her name, but it might not be. But it had got hit by a boat on its head, and part of its head was exposed. And I think one of its eyes and its whole head. And they were trying to capture it so they could bring it in to rehabilitate it. And release it. They were never able to capture it. They couldn't get to it because it was just difficult. And the next season, when it came back and it was alive and it healed its whole head up. Like they have this amazing ability to heal themselves, unless, that blunt force trauma is what really ends up killing them a lot. And they also can die in like pipes that are outfalls, stormwater outfalls will get stuck in there sometimes, but a lot of those have been graded up over the years, so they can't get in there anymore. They used to get crushed in the locks a lot, the salinity control structures where they open up, water to prevent flooding and stuff. Since that time, they've installed sensors in almost all of those, similar to an elevator. So if something's in there, it'll bounce back up and it won't crush them and stuff. But
Jim called him a super porpoise before, so they are like superpowers.
Yeah,
regenerative superpowers.
Yeah, they're pretty incredible.
Do they ever take down a boat though? Do they ever sink a boat?
No, it wouldn't. Because boats, even the smallest boat, unless it's a little skiff, that might, but even the smallest boat, weighs usually like 1,000, 2,000 pounds. So that going 40 miles an hour, hitting it, you'd feel it if you'd hit it. People would know. And I'm sure people have hit and kept going, because if you do that and you're in a zone where you're supposed to be going slow, you'll be put in jail, so.
If you hit a manatee and you're going at the proper speed, will they be fine, or will they still be injured?
If you're going idle speed, they call it, which is you're throwing no wake, you're going around 5 miles per hour, they'll see the boats there and they'll get out of they'll hear it or they'll see it and they'll swim out of the way. Sometimes you're going that speed and you'll see this kind of rush of water come up and you'll see, their footprint, which is like little circles kind of going away. And then you'll see, there's some manatees there or whatever. And then they'll avoid you. But when you're going 40 or 50 miles per hour and they're near the surface taking a breath, it's like, it's done, So.
All right, last question to go over.
Why did you choose manatees over all the other animals you could have studied? What drew you to manatees?
I didn't study manatees. I worked for I haven't been looking at the camera the whole time, by the way. I'm not used to looking, but I worked for Miami-Dade County's Department of Environmental Resources Management, DERM, otherwise, and it had a lot of functions, that department, but the department, the section I worked in was called Restoration Enhancement, and we were concerned with water quality in Biscayne Bay and the Everglades, tributaries that fed Biscayne Bay, coral reefs, and seagrass monitoring and stuff like that. But the manatee protection portion in this department had a person that was in charge of it had been reassigned to something else. And it kind of was floating around and people were taking care of some of the duties that needed to be done, but no one was really assigned to it. And I started to show an interest in manatees when we were out there, like spotting them or doing some of the surveys or something. And so because I showed an interest, I was asked if I wanted to help take over or like spearhead like this program that already existed. So I took over as the point person for, I guess it was about 7 years in Dade County as the person that was in charge of the manatee protection program in this department. So it wasn't something I studied.
Did you save any? Did your actions save any manatees? Are you responsible for saved manatees personally?
You mean like what, one that was injured or something like that, or?
Yeah, like did you find some place where a family of manatees were endangered and relocate them or something like that? Like, or did you?
No, I never relocated them. I don't know if I saved a single man. Oh, there was one time there was a guy trying to catch a manatee with like a grappling hook. I saved that one, I think. But because people
with
want
a grappling hook, like
he was trying, he was swinging.
Like when you're in a video arcade, you want to pick up a fluffy toy. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, like when you climb a wall with, you throw it. But they have like.
Oh yeah.
He was throwing it at a manatee, and we pulled up, and our boat is marked government, like it has government symbols on the side, and we're like, hey, what are you doing? He goes, I don't know. He didn't speak much English, and he was telling us that he was trying to catch it to eat it. Because they eat manatees in this country, and we're like, well, not here. That's an offense, whatever. And then he kind of showed me, he goes, okay. And then he just wandered off into that. But, which, I don't think he would have caught the manatee. If the grappling hook got into the manatee, it would have pulled him in the water. They're very strong. But I don't know if I specifically helped a single manatee, but I felt like what I was doing as far as like, we would do the surveys to count them. I would respond to ones that were in distress. Sometimes they were trapped behind, they call them salinity control. They're like these barriers that they put around construction sites, and then they kind of hang down like a curtain underwater. And sometimes they would get stuck behind there. So, I guess you could say some of those I helped get out, but I think they would have probably been okay. But I don't know, the ones that were stuck in the parking lot, I didn't make the call. Some lady saw them there, but I helped the process to get them out of a parking lot and back into the ocean. So you could say those two, I guess.
You never pulled a plastic straw out of one of their noses?
No, I never saw a plastic straw in a manatee's nose, but there was a lot of entanglement. Like they get entangled in like crab trap ropes or monofilament and stuff like that. But so I guess there was a couple like that, but it wasn't me. It's always a team effort with a manatee. They're like thousands of pounds. You're not just waiting in there and like, okay. Did
a manatee ever remember you?
I don't think so, no.
Not the one you took the picture
I
with?
reckon there was one that was like, "Oh, first is here."
I don't think, I don't know what their memories are like. I don't know what their memories are like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hi, Forrest. I hope you find your dad.
Oh, shit, it's a lot more inappropriate now that I think about it. Can they communicate with each other, and how? He says yes, they sonar and winking gestures.
Not sonar, that's dolphins. They communicate. They have vocalizations that have been recorded, and that's very common with a mother and a calf. They'll communicate, and they have vocalizations that you could probably identify as like maybe that's that calf's quote unquote name. That's like the sound that they're known by. Also, pheromones in the water. When a female is ready, like to be mated with, they release pheromones, and that's why the herd of males know that and they go after them. So that's a form of communication. And also, not as common, but they will eat each other's poop sometimes. Like they'll actually eat it, and that way they can tell like a lot of information the same way a dog would sniff a butt. Yeah.
All right. Well, this is the part of the show where we talk about dinner party facts. So,
what's that?
If you could give us a fact that
slavery
somebody could tell their friends at a bar or a party, or to impress someone, give us something good.
I don't know. I think people might know this, but I'm not sure. Did you guys know that they were mistaken for mermaids?
No.
Okay, good. Dinner party fact. All right. So, remember earlier I was saying dugongs and manatees are all in the Sirenia. And that's sirens, like for sirens, which if you go back to like the sirens were the supposedly half human, half fish creatures that lured the sailors into the
There's a
sea
movie called
witches.
Sirens with Elle Macpherson and Hugh Grant in it, and Elle Macpherson's topless in a few scenes.
Yeah, so
that's the only.
So that's why they get that name. That's why the Latin name for the where it comes from, because they believe that they were mistaken for mermaids. And Christopher Columbus specifically in his journal said that he saw these mermaids that he had heard so much about off of the coast of Africa, which would be the West Coast, the West African manatees. And also when he got to the New World in the Caribbean and near Florida, that would be the West Indian manatee. And he said, here's the quote. What did he say? He goes, he described them as not as beautiful as they are painted, since in some ways they have a face like a man, is what he said. So that's almost certainly what he thought he was seeing were these manatees. And that's like this, it's been proven that that's what he was talking about. So manatees, that's how bad it was on ships when you were going across the sea for months, drinking rum, whatever you showed him, you're like, yeah, I'd fuck that manatee. That's pretty, yeah. So there you go. Manatees were mistaken for mermaids back in the days of Columbus.
So that guy had his grappling hook.
Yeah, Columbus wasn't a good person either. So
he's a fucking liar. So
he's trying to eat mermaids. They're very tasty.
The grappling hook guys like this. In my culture, we eat manatees.
Probably, yeah, exactly. And I would just say, if you are interested in helping to protect manatees, go to savethemanatee.org, and there's a lot of good resources on there as far as stuff you can donate to or help, and you can learn more about them on there, so you can see if I was wrong. I think I was pretty close on everything.
You're still gonna get shit in the comments regardless.
Yeah, I forgot family order, all that stuff at the beginning. I don't know. I don't do science anymore, but the rest of it, it seemed pretty right in my head. So, yeah.
Sounds good to me, man.
Yeah.
You're only allowed to shit talk in the comments if you also have a picture at the bottom of the water with a manatee.
Oh yeah, I'll send those to Louise. I have pictures of me and manatees just to prove that I was around manatees.
All right, because I'm not in the room, Kelly, Jack, who wants to do the out statement?
I think Jack would like to do it.
Yeah.
Well, if you think
What if you-
Catching manatee with a grappling hook's a good idea.
If you're ever at a bar,
Oh, if you're ever at a bar and you think, hey, there's a manatee over there, I'm going to catch it with a grappling hook. I don't know about that.
wow.
Good night, Australia.
That's not how it's done.
No,
If
that's not
someone says to you, I reckon I could capture that manatee with a grappling hook, go, well, I don't know about that, and walk away. And then you say goodbye to Australia.
Yeah, try it again,
Good night,
Jack.
Australia.
Try it with a different one than the grappling hook.
Let me think.
If you're ever in a bar and someone says,
If
to
you're
you,
ever in a bar and someone says to you, hey, does that look like a mermaid over there? And you go, no, it looks like a manatee. I don't know about that. Good night, Australia.